Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zoe Nolen. I am currently a senior at Texas A&M University, where I am studying both agricultural communications and journalism and agricultural economics. And today I'm going to be talking about the story behind my internship, which is where I rebranded a research identity. So over the summer, I worked with Texas A&M AgriLife to rebrand the Texas Climate Smart Initiative into what is now the Texas Conservation and Sustainability Initiative, also known as TCSI. This project let me combine my interests that I have both in agriculture and communication, as well as design, with an interest in science and research, to help a statewide research project communicate its mission more clearly. So, a little bit about my internship organization, Texas Conservation and Sustainability Initiative. It's a research and outreach initiative that's housed within Texas A&M AgriLife, and it's a program that focuses on sustainable agriculture and conservation and different practices that producers can implement. And I worked under Dr. Leggett, and she served as my supervisor. And throughout this process, I also collaborated with Dr. Julie Howe. She's the project director, and then Mr. Jason Vogel as well. And together we worked on strengthening how the initiative communicates its goals academically, but more specifically to the producer audiences that would actually be implementing the practices. So before the rebrand, it was known as the Texas Climate Smart Initiative, and it had strong research and outreach goals. But the biggest thing was the rename and the rebrand, and making sure that once we did that, we made sure our messaging was consistent across all platforms. And so one of the big areas for that was the website. It needed some updating. Some of the visuals, a lot of the visuals actually were outdated once we changed the name, because that also meant we had to change the logo as well. And the title didn't really reflect what the program was all about anymore. So my very first task was to kind of evaluate these gaps and help craft a unified identity that better represented who they are and what they do. So the purpose of my internship was to gain hands-on experience in science communication. I have a really strong background in communications and with branding and design, especially within agriculture, but not necessarily agricultural research. So this was kind of putting me into new waters and learning something new. So I had kind of three main objectives that I worked through within my project. And first was evaluating the existing materials and identifying the needs of rebranding. And I kind of talked about that earlier. But then second, realigning those major branding elements, so the logo, the website, tone and messaging. And then lastly, developing kind of a long-term plan so that there were actually tangible communication materials that could be used in the future once the rebrand was complete. So my role combined a few different things. There was some design, there's a little bit of writing, and a lot of collaboration. So I started out with redesigning the initiative's logo once we had the new name for the program. So I did this in Adobe Illustrator. And it was a cool process because it was one that I think is just really real world experience where I'd come up with something, take it back to Dr. Leggett and Dr. Howe, and we would talk through what needed to be changed, what would look different. I'd go back to the drawing board, try again. And I think it was a great collaborative process. Then in WordPress, I helped rewrite some website copy. I did a lot of layout design. The idea was making it a website that the producers who were involved in the program could go to and easily find what they needed. And it wasn't like they were having to click through a bunch of different tabs. We really, really thought about the design of the website and kind of the how to make it user friendly. And we spent a lot of time with that. And then I also created some communications templates and graphics and infographics for future outreach, using some of our new verbiage and using the new title for the program. So these results resulted in a cohesive and modern visual identity for TCSI. So the project produced a new logo, an updated website, and an improved with improved navigation and readability. And it also had the consistent messaging across all of the platforms. We also worked to make those, again, those tangible materials that can be used in the future so that that consistent messaging has some longevity to it. So all together, these outcomes helped TCSI present itself to producers as a credible, research-driven, accessible program that producers should become involved in. And I think it was very important to make sure that that was clear. And then here we have the new logo, what we came up with. And so it incorporates, crops, forestry, livestock, kind of the big areas of the agricultural sector that the program focuses on. It's clean and clear. It uses typography and color palettes that complement and work well with the Texas A&M AgriLife brand since it is a branded project, and that it just cleared up our name and all of the issues related to that. Next is the website. This is just a snippet of it. You can visit it at tcsi.tamu.edu. And yeah, we did a lot of work in just really redesigning where things sit. I know one thing is we moved here on this page, you can see that the partners are higher up. And that is because originally they were at the very bottom of the website. And we just decided it was better for the producers, for the people visiting the website, to see who's involved with it kind of right off the bat. Lots of decisions were made like that, talking through things. And it was all through our audiences, which is the producers' eyes and how they would see things. And then for me, professionally, this intern gave me a real world chance to apply a lot of what I've learned within my major and my AgCom classes. We learn a lot about design, Adobe Illustrator, all of these different programs, and we learn how to use them. But this was a really awesome opportunity for me to take a real world internship and utilize the skills that I've gained through my coursework and kind of refining skills within WordPress and all of these different practical experiences, and also just seeing how it looks like in the context of science-based communication, which is kind of new for me. I think another really big takeaway that I had was the value of collaboration, working alongside Dr. Leggett and Dr. Howe and Mr. Vogel and talking through things and not being afraid to have an opinion and take feedback, critical feedback, in a positive way and seeing it as an opportunity for me to grow and to become better, I think was huge for me. And that actually kind of goes into my next point, which is, again, the personal growth. I think it built my confidence as a communicator. I became more comfortable sharing creative work. I became more comfortable accepting feedback and making revisions in order to be better. I also learned how to adapt quickly, whatever that looked like, whether that was changing the website, I had a plan, and being quick to pivot on my feet. And I think that those lessons have shaped not only my professional skill set, but also my mindset towards working with others collaboratively. So overall, it was a really great experience. We did a lot of work on the project, and I'm very thankful for all that I was able to learn. Looking forward to my career, I think that it aligns well with my goals to work in agricultural communication and marketing. I think it strengthened my portfolio as a student. And I think I learned a lot about branding and how important branding is and actually translating a message, whether that's in science communication or any other form of marketing and communication. And so moving forward, I hope to continue to utilize branding and remembering how my audience views things and how important that can be. And so, yeah, overall, I think that this is a great opportunity for me to learn about science and communication and the gap and how communication has to bridge that gap. And so, yeah, there's my conclusion. Yeah, and it has a huge role in how the public perceives. How we communicate science and different things has a huge role in the public perception. And knowing that I have the ability to use my skills to kind of shape public perception is really cool. And so I just want to thank Dr. Leggett and Dr. Howe and Mr. Vogel and all of the people that I worked with this summer, as well as Dr. Wiggenbach and Dr. Gastel for putting on the Science Influencers and mentoring me and walking with me through this time. And so I am now open to any questions anyone may have.